Hello, hello, hello. Hey, yesterday I saw some um, interesting new features that are coming out with Qwen 3.6, and one that caught my eye in particular is called thinking preservation or preserve thinking. And I wanted to know how that was actually implemented in Qwen 3.6, and I also wanted to know a little bit more about what its real world implications would be in practice. Is it actually going to do anything for agentic workflows, whatever? So um, let's have a look at some of the documentation here. We've got the this is what we were looking at yesterday. Was the MOE that dropped yesterday, and it is in the Qwen 3.6 series. So, truth be told, this is not the very first Qwen 3.6, but it is the first one that's open weights. So this is going to be a little bit of a clue for how we can learn more about the thinking preservation. Down here, they actually dig into it a little bit more. But you know what? Let's actually just go straight to a really helpful Reddit post that came out yesterday, 18 hours ago, by this Reddit user, who is pointing out that this feature, first of all, it's not on by default, so there's a little bit to learn there, and second of all, they did a comparison of with the feature on and off, and it's interesting. So let's have a quick look. So it's implemented, like, to turn the feature on and off, it's implemented as a template a variable. So different engines are going to use different ways to provide template variables. In Llama CPP, this is an example. You provide a dictionary like mapping of with this keyword, and then set preserve thinking to true. Okay, well, what is the real world impact of that? So with preserve thinking off, they demonstrate two turns here, in which in the first turn they prompt the model to do some reasoning, and it comes up with an answer. And preserve thinking is off. In the second turn, does this new generation have any access to this like readily available perfect answer? And the answer is no. Contrast that with when preserve thinking is on. And so this is an interesting test. I mean, it even has it discriminating between two numbers, that could be kind of confusing to some models. So, in other words, it seems like there are actually some interesting real-world implications in terms of making this agentic loop a little bit more efficient. But in terms of trying to figure out how it's actually implemented, I wondered. It sounded architectural, but it couldn't have been, and it's not. But by way of getting there, I did look at Qwen 3.6 Plus, because this it was available via API. It's just not open weights, and here is where they actually initially introduced this preserve thinking capability. Let's see, open code. Where even was it? All right, well, but it actually has been out for a little while, and incidentally, I thought there was a bit of an Easter egg here in the way that there's a big claw here. This is obviously they're thinking about like a specific type of agent loop, but in the end of the day, I did just look at the template that ships with the MOE that dropped yesterday, and and lo and behold, within this template is the preserved thinking keyword. And so what this means is if you do set the keyword value to true, then this part of the template will render, and it's simply going to include this extra reasoning content from previous iterations. So what that means, so first of all, that explains how previous rounds of conversation can be injected into into the context. Essentially, it is like a context injection kind of thing. But it also explains how this does not need to be any kind of special architecture. This can just run right out of the gate, the same way that like Llama CPP, for example, is able to run Qwen 3.5, same architecture. So it's just a training thing. They included this new paradigm of relatively new paradigm. I saw a little bit of this in GLM, I thought maybe. So anyway, they're making it a first order citizen of the Qwen 3.6 stuff. It's part of what they think is cool about it. Part of what I think is cool about it. It is definitely going to reduce the churn of rethinking about stuff, thinking about stuff that that the model just solved in a previous iteration. So there you have it. That is the Qwen 3.6 preserved thinking stuff. Now you know a little bit about how to enable it, and thanks to this Reddit post, which I put in the description, and it actually seems to have some real world implications, which is pretty wild to me. So let's see if this can be more efficient. All right. So thank you very much. This space is changing constantly, so next time I see something interesting, let's start streaming again. All right, bye.